and welcome to Spark Up Dance. My name's Brett, and today we're talking about a country line dance called Kick the Dust Up. This is a nationally recognized dance to this song. The song is Kick the Dust Up by Luke Bryan. Now do note that in the demo that I'll be showing you today of this, for copyright reasons, I will not be using the live song. But do note you can do it to that song, or if you just hear a country song on and you don't know what line dance to do to it, then you can just use this one as a easy default. As long as there's not other people doing a different line dance on the same floor, of course. This was taught to me by a local here in North Bend, Coos Bay, and I kind of have my own twist on the whole variation, but I just wanted to share the North Bend, Coos Bay version that we've kind of all slowly come up with here locally. So shout out to my friend out there. If they would like to be mentioned at all in this video, then I will leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you for teaching me. This has been a lot of fun. For not just me, but for our community. All right, so let's start in on this and take a look at the demo. So starting with our first movement today, we're going to be doing the tap and lift. So like most line dances, unlike the samba line dance, if you've seen that video, we're actually going to be starting on the right foot, which is where most line dances actually start, is the right foot free. So what we're going to be doing here is just a basic tap action. You can do this standing with your legs straight, or you can have your knees slightly bent. Doesn't matter, just depends how you feel. Nice thing about line dances, there's a lot of variation you can just throw in or add on. So what we're going to do from here is I'm going to have my knees bent, and I'm going to go ahead and point my foot off to the side. So I'm just extending my leg. I'm not putting any weight on it. My head's still over my standing leg here. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to then bring the leg in. So we're going to start out, in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the foot up and bring it down. And at the moment, I really don't care how you do that. So we're going to go out, in, up, down. Then we're going to go to the left, doing the same thing. I've switched weight, put weight onto my right foot when I put that foot down, and now I'm going to go out, in, up, down. So let's put it together. So we're going to go out, in, up, down, out, in, up, down. Now, I'm going to have us do that a few more times in a minute, but I just want to show a couple of things. First off, when you go out, in, up, when you do the up, it's nice to just be able to raise the knee and let this leg relax kind of at this angle here. There's a lot of ways you could lift it. You could lift it with your foot against your leg. You could lift it with it just out here in the open. It doesn't really matter as long as you have space. You could even bring it in and then maybe lift it back for like a kick or something. So do note that there's variations you can use. But the main thing is that in some way, shape, or form, this foot is coming up into the air. So the other thing is going to be timing with this. All right, so the type of rhythm that we're going to be using for the tap and lifts is going to be quadruple rhythm, which means I'm going to be taking about 4 different actions or movements within 2 beats of music. So if I'm counting the beats, I'm going to go boom and tick and. So the music will go boom, tick. Or if I do it from this angle, boom, tick. So what's happening here is for the first beat for the boom, I'm putting my toe out. Then I silently bring my foot in before the tick happens. Then I'm going to lift the leg on the tick, and then I'm going to bring my foot back down in the silence before the next boom hits. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So it's 1, 2. And I'll use the silent, I'll fill in the silence by saying the word and. 1 and 2 and. Same thing on this side. 1 and 2 and. So it goes by pretty quick. It's really fast. Quadruple rhythm is really, really quick. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Let's do that slow. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a little faster. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 faster. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and faster. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So yeah, it'll have to be pretty quick for that. So just note that you're going to need to make sure to fill in those blanks. Point has a sound to it. This does not have a sound. Leg up has a sound to it. Foot down does not. So anytime your foot touches your other foot, that's the silence. Boom, tick, boom, tick. Beware that. All right, let's go to the next one. Walk and toe heel swivels. Now, once again, you could use a lot of different variations for this, but I always like to think of this as kind of like the cowboy days where you have the guys who have the holsters at their sides and then they go to walk forward and they walk forward with this wide stance to show how strong and intimidating they should be before they go on to do whatever else they're going to do. But they're just kind of taking a very wide and strong stance there. So what's going to happen here is after you've done this part, then what's going to happen is with the right foot free, I like to step forward with my toe in the air. So if I do it from this angle, I like to step forward with my toe in the air as I walk out. Now, as I do this, I'm not going to fully commit my weight over my head here. I'm going to kind of walk out and then walk my other foot out the same way so that my head, if you watch from here, stays in the middle. So I would walk, walk. I don't go walk, walk, and bring my head all the way over to the side over this foot. So I'm going to step with my heel coming forward, heel, heel. So my feet are nice and apart. You could do this with bent knees if you want something that's a little bit more cowboy-like. If you want to do this with something that looks a little bit more ballroomy, since I do have a ballroom background, you can do straight legs as well. Whatever you feel like. But the main thing is I'm going boom, tick. Then what's going to happen here are what I call toe heel swivels. Now, once again, there's lots of things you could do here. You could do like a slide where you just pull the feet in. You could just walk your feet if you want to, in case you feel like you don't want to try to twist your ankles and knees, depending on your ankles and knees. I know if I had sore knees, I wouldn't feel like doing this. But what's going to happen here for toe heel swivels, I'm going to show you from the front here so you can see this. I'm going to essentially, at first, just for now, swivel on my heels of my feet so that I'm just picking up my toes. And I'm doing them at the same time. So I'm having them in and out, in and out, in and out. This has all my weight on my heels so I can swivel. Yeah, so I'll do that from here. My toes will start out when I first walk out. So I'll go walk, walk. So my toes are already out. And then I'm going to go ahead and toe both of my toes inwards at the same time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put weight on the balls of the feet and then be able to swivel my heels instead. So I want my heels to be able to move next. They're kind of alternating and taking turns. So let's do it again from the walk. We're going walk, walk. Now I'm going swivel, move the toes, move my heels, and then I'll move my toes again one more time so my feet are together. So I'll show that from this angle. So I've done my boom, tick. Now I'm going to bring my feet in, boom, and tick. So once again, I go walk, walk, move my toes, move my heels, pull my toes together. Okay? Now, as I do this, I like to straighten my legs at the end. So I like to walk out a little bit, and then I'll bring the toes in, bring the heels in, bring the toes in, and my knees will still be bent. And then I'll kind of stand up straight before I go into the next part. That's what I enjoy doing. You don't have to, though, of course. I just find it a little bit more rhythmical for my body personally. So we're going walk, walk, toes, heel, toes, and then stand up straight if you're not already. Let's do that with counts. So I'm going to go boom, tick, boom, and tick with a little straighten as the end. Or I could go boom and tick and straighten up as that tick hits. It doesn't matter, however you want to time it. But that's essentially a triple rhythm. So there's I walk out, boom, tick. So that's double rhythm, 2 steps per 2 beats. And now I'm going to take 3 actions per 2 beats. So I'm going to bring in my toe for boom, heels in during the silence, and then bring my toes in for the tick as I straighten up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do it one more time. We go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a little faster. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Last time, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those are your walks, toe, heel swivels. So I'm going to be using a ballroom term for this a little bit, but we'll be doing 5th position breaks next, followed by kick and swivels. And kick and swivel is not necessarily a ballroom term. But the 5th positions is, you can also just call these rocks if you want to simplify it for yourself. But I call them 5th position breaks. So after you've got your feet together here, you're going to free up your right foot, and then you're going to hook your right foot behind your left just a little bit here. And you'll notice that what I'll do is I don't just bring my foot straight back, but you'll notice that my heel will actually be turned towards my left over here in this direction. So I'm going back with my foot kind of at a diagonal here. Okay, I'm exaggerating this a little bit. And then what I want to do is I want to bring that foot back just a little bit, step on the ball of the foot, and I'm going to commit weight to it, but I'm not going to put my heel on the ground, or if I do put my heel on the ground, I'm just going to tap it to the floor, but I'm not actually going to put weight on it. So what you want to do here essentially is you'll be on the ball of the foot, and you're going to allow your legs to essentially rock. Notice that when I do this, I'll show this from this angle, that my forward foot does pick up. I keep my toe on the ground. You could, if you wanted to create a little stomp, just bring the whole foot up, and that's totally cool for this style of dance. Or you can just make it a little quieter and allow that ankle to expand a little bit there. So what we're going to do from here is we're just going to repeat on both sides. So I'm going to go rock, step, side, rock, step, side. That's all you got to do for that. Now, one thing to note is that I want to rotate a little bit at the end here for the next part we're going to get into, which is I'm going to go rock, step, side, rock, step, side. And you'll notice my upper body will actually rotate to the left here a little bit, because the next thing I'm going to do is pick up my foot and kick. Or not pick up my foot, depending how fast the music is, and I could just kick straight out. But the point is I want to go at a diagonal here, so I'm going to kind of prep myself for that ahead of time. So let's just do the rocks first, though, one more time. So we've just done our feet together action here. And then what's going to happen, I'm going to bring my right foot back, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Then we're going to kick, which I'm going to get into in a minute. One more time doing that. This is a triple rhythm, just like the last one. So musically, it's going to go boom, tick, boom, tick, kick. All right, so one more time. We go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, kick. All right, so let's talk about that kicking portion, because that part's going to be a little bit more difficult. So in the kick, we do a kick and swivel. Now, if you don't want to kick your legs, that's totally fine. What you can do is kind of just scuff the floor a little bit. So we can go rock and side, scuff, and then we can do our little turn here as we go. So do note, you don't have to do a big major kick if you don't want to, but I will be teaching it as a slightly bigger kick. So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. From here, I have the option, if the music is slow enough, for me to just pick up my leg here just a little bit. This allows me to be able to get a little bit of swing from my hip to allow my leg to fly through. So I'm going to raise my foot here just a little bit and then sweep it through like a pendulum forward. And how high you go and everything is entirely up to you. Just make sure if you're doing this with somebody, you don't kick them. All right. I've heard about having a kick in the pants while you're dancing, but that's putting it a little too far. So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I like to say and for this prep, and then I'm going to kick 5. Now, after I do my kick, I'm going to swivel on my foot and pull my leg in. Now, that's a very intricate action. I'm going to show you a very simplified version of this first, and then I'm going to show you the version I'm actually doing. So in the simplified version, I'm going to do this from this angle here. I'm going to kick, and then when I kick my foot forward, and then I'm just going to kind of swivel my foot so that my right toe points in the direction that I want to go next, which will be down the line. So if I'm here and I kick, then I'm just going to kind of swivel my foot around, have my knee bent, and just kind of tap the ball of my right foot onto the ground instead of trying to kick and then immediately just go flat-footed. So be careful of that. So if I wanted to do the easy version of this, I would go scuff, turn, and then away I go. So then the question is where does my turn come from? Because obviously my leg by itself isn't creating it. Rotation always comes from the body. So if you were to stand on your left leg here, okay, and then you were to just lightly keep just the toe of your foot here on the floor, then what you could do is you could bring your arms up kind of like a ballerina. Okay, you can open your left arm and then close it. This is actually part of a drill in my turning course. But what you're trying to do is you're essentially taking your torso and you prep it, so you kick, and you notice that my torso is already facing this diagonal, and then I'm going to twist my torso to the right. So all of this turn is coming from essentially taking my right shoulder and pulling my right shoulder back. And that's what allows me to be able to rotate on the ball of my foot. So I'll kick, and then I'm going to pull my right shoulder back, and that allows me to rotate. So I'm going to go kick, rotate. Now, how does this knee action work if you want to do that? Essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to kick, and then as you rotate, I like to think of it like my knee has a string to it, and that my knee gets yanked to the right to where my foot's left behind. So if I think about this being pulled on just from the pant leg, then I'm allowing my foot to follow my knee, as it's getting pulled around. So I want to go kick, and then my knee gets pulled on, and that's what allows my leg to be able to get the triangle action, as we call it a lot in Latin. So that's going to go kick, my knee goes to the right as I turn, and then from here I'm going to take 3 steps forward and do a lock step essentially, like you would in cha-cha. Forward, hook, forward, or you can go forward together, forward. If you want to keep this simple, we can just go forward together, forward. That's fine. That's just a basic chasse. If you want to do it the way I've been demoing it, to do a lock, all you have to do is you're going to kick, bring the knee through. You're going to do this stepping on the toes of your feet. You're going to step. You're going to hook your left foot behind, not putting your heel down, and you'll notice that my heel is out. And then you'll step forward again. Check out some of our cha-cha material if you want to learn more about the details on that. So we're going to kick, rotate, and then I'm going to go forward, hook, forward. And then essentially my left foot's back, I'm already angled towards this corner, and I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to lift my foot, I'm going to kick, I'm going to pull my left shoulder back now with my knee bending, and then forward together, forward, until we get to the next part. So let's do this without stopping. Very slowly, we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And obviously when you land, you can land with your heel or your toe, since you just saw me do that. However you want to spice it up. So one more time, let's go over the timing here, nice and easy. So this is a triple step, 1 and 2, another triple, 3 and 4. From here I'm going to kick, or I'm going to prep my foot and I'm going to kick 5, turn 6. So I'm using a single, I'm using actually a held rhythm because I'm kicking and turning all on my left foot. So I'm not actually taking a step there. So it's just 1, 2. Or if I'm using boom, tick, tick. Then this part here is a triple rhythm. 1, boom, tick. Yeah, so let's just do this with boom, ticks. Boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick. Numbers 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that's going to be your fifth positions with your kick and swivel. All right, so the next part that we have is going to be our double kick to what I call the wiggle. So, essentially what's going to happen here is we've just done our little triple step here. I'm going to take my right foot, I'm going to kick it forward, and I want you to notice that unlike the other kick where I'm sweeping my leg, right, so that's more of a leg sweep, I'm actually going to just take my leg, I'm going to pull it up first, and then I'm going to kick down. Yeah, so I like to think of it like if there's a dog door that's stuck and I need to open the dog door, that I'm like trying to kick the door open because it's just kind of jammed. And it's a really strong steel dog door because it can handle the power of my leg. All right, so essentially, to be more serious here, I'm going to bring the leg up and then kick it out. So I'm going to go from my right foot being back to and a kick, step, kick, step. So I'm doing this several times. So I'm bringing the leg in, I kick it, I step in place. Now my other foot's free. Bring the leg in, kick, step. So this goes by pretty quick. Kick and kick. Kick and kick. I'm going to do this nice and slow. Kick and kick and kick and kick. And you'll see how my leg lifts, kicks, lifts, place. Lifts, kicks, lifts, place. So now if you feel like challenging yourself just a little bit with this, you can try bending your knees and straightening them as you're doing these kicks. So whenever my leg is up, my leg is straight, and then whenever I kick, you'll notice that my knee will go down with it. Then I bring it up, and then back down to the floor where my knee bends. Then I bring it up, kick, up, step, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that's what gives you that little rhythm and pulse. Kick and step, 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 kick and step. That's how you can get that little pulse going up and down. But it's not necessarily necessary. Big words today. All right, so in reality here, I'm going to do it from this angle just for now so you can see it. So I'm going to go kick, step, kick, step. So what rhythm is this? If I use numbers, I'd be going, or sorry, if I use rhythms, I'd be doing this. Boom, tick. Once again, it would look like this. Boom, tick. So this is actually a triple rhythm because I'm not actually going to go boom, tick, and keep going. I'm only going to kick twice. So it's going to look like this. Number-wise, we're going to go 1 and 2. So I'm stepping on the and during the silence. 1 and 2. And I'm just going to hold it there for our next part, which is going to be our wiggle. So it goes 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Then from there, we're going to do the wiggle part. Now, what some people do here in the original style is they'll actually kick with this foot, and then they'll actually swivel their legs, okay? And if that's easier for you, that's fine. I like giving this a little bit of a hip wiggle. I think it's kind of fun. But if you want to do the swivels instead, that's totally fine. So essentially, what's going to happen here is you're going to kick, and then allowing your weight to stay free on this left foot, I'm essentially going to do what I did before with the toe heel swivels, where I'm freeing up my heels, but I'm just going to do it on my right foot. I'm going to let my heel swivel on the ground, but I'm not just going to do that staying here looking at this wall. I'm going to do it and kind of increment myself towards the right. So I'll go kick and kick, swivel, 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 or wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay? Now at the end of that, I actually need to change weight onto my left foot. So I've brought this here, I pull my right hip back, wiggle, 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 and then on that last wiggle, that third wiggle, I'm going to pull this foot in because now I need to free this foot up for the next step. So it's going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. You'll notice that my foot steps in. So we go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. One more time. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Foot comes in on 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And that'll free up my right foot to go to the next part. Don't forget to transfer that weight. Otherwise, you'll go through this da, 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 and then you'll be like, I got to stomp on the other foot. So be cautious of that. One way you could cheat that, if that does happen, by the way, is you go kick and kick, wiggle, 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 and then pull your head to your foot instead, and then start stomping. That is another potential option in case you don't feel like you have time to get your foot in. So let's do this part all together with count. Oh, by the way, the count to this is 1 and 2. So there's your triple rhythm. Now this is another triple rhythm. 3 and 4. If I did this with boom ticks, it would look like this. Boom, tick, and then away I go. All right, now with numbers, we go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And now we're ready for the last part. So the next thing that we have are going to be our stomps. Now, I just want to say this as a warning ahead of time. Please make sure you're aware of where you're doing this at. Stomping can cause a lot of noise, so if you're like upstairs somewhere, or if you're out at a bar or something, versus if you're out at a ballroom dance floor, okay? Just be aware that people have different rules for this. If you have some really big, thick, heavy boots and you're stomping around, it could potentially damage the floor if you scuff it wrong. If you're up on the second level of a place, that could cause the place to shake or make a lot of noise that maybe you don't want to make at that time of day. So just be very cautious when you're stomping. And these stomps don't have to be hard. So essentially what's going to happen here is you've just done this portion where we did our little wiggle, pulled our foot in, and then from here I'm going to tap my foot outside of me. I like to do this with my toe up in the air. You could also just tap your feet if you want to be quiet. That's cool too. But since this is more country-like, I like to think of wearing boots, so to speak, even though I'm not wearing boots. I'm going to tap my heel across the floor, and then I'm going to kind of inch myself around. Now, once again, do note that my rotation's coming from my torso, so I'm rotating my upper body just a little bit. I don't actually need this foot to get me to turn around. So I could do it on one leg if I wanted to. But of course, you could use this one to help if you want. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to go tap, 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 tap. Okay. Now the thing about this is that even though I'm going around and tapping, where do I tap at? So essentially what's happening here is that I start off tapping to the side. I do a quarter of a turn facing the next wall, tapping to the side. And then I'll usually use my last two to slow down a little bit. I'll kind of tap to the diagonal and then tap to where I'm now facing the camera before I go into my slide for the next part. So we go tap, 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 tap. And you'll notice what I'm doing with my leg here is that from my knee, I'm pulling my leg up and in, yeah? So I don't need to swing my leg around anywhere. It's just from the knee up, I'm pulling my leg up and down. Yeah, I don't need to lift it. You can if you want. You could lift it if you wanted to. That's okay. But I find it's a little bit less work and just as effective for me personally if I just do this with my leg and kind of flick it from my knee. So we flick, 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 and then we're ready for the slides, or the drags, excuse me, not slides. All right, so let's talk about the timing for that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's all double rhythm. I do it on every beat. Boom, tick, boom, tick. And then I'm ready to go for the next part. All right, so the next part is going to be our drags. So after I've done my little kick around, 1, 2, 3, 4, this foot's free. I notice that this knee here is actually bent. So if I show you from this angle here, this knee is bent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this leg like a spring to push myself off towards my next foot, or my right foot. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from here I'm going to expand this leg, which then allows me to create a dragging action. Now, how do you actually do a dragging action? It's actually very simple. All right, so after we do our stomps, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my leg like a spring to push myself off to the side, and I want you to notice that as I do, I land onto another bent leg, and then from here, the way I drag my foot in is that I keep my knee bent in this case, and I'm going to just pull my other foot in by pressing it down against the floor just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit of pressure until my feet either come close together or they touch. Preferably they'll touch. So I'll step off to the side. I'll drag this foot in by pressing it against the ground. What I don't want to do is I don't want to step to the side and then pull my feet together and just wait, unless you're musically wanting to do that. But in general, I'm going to step to the side, allow this foot to drag in by pressing against the floor and bend, and then you'll notice I'm still loaded into my knees, and then I'll extend the leg to the other side to essentially do the same thing. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so one more time. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a lot of times we like to add that little tap in. I'll drag the foot in, then tap, drag the foot in and tap, and those happens on the tick. So that would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or rhythmically, boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick, boom, tick. Just want to show this from the other side now. We're going to do the stomps to the drag so you can follow along going the other way. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want you to notice how I'm going back in a zigzag. So I'm going zig to the right, zag to the left, getting closer to the camera. So I want to back up a little bit. And those are your stomps and drags. So the next thing that we have is our slow to fast taps. So we just did our slow taps, and now we need to speed them up. So essentially this part is going to look like this. I've just done my drag, tap, and then I'm going to step in diagonals and little zigzags here, forward towards the camera, tap my foot, forward towards the camera, tap my foot, forward towards the camera, tap my foot, forward towards the camera, tap my foot. I'm going to do that from this angle so you can see that. So I've just done my drag, tap. Now I'm going to go forward again. Forward, tap, forward, tap, forward, tap, forward, tap, and then I'm going to go straight into my my taps that go off to the right and then with the leg lift. So let's do that. I'm going to do it from here so I can turn around. From the stomps, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what rhythm is that? That's quadruple rhythm again. We're going really fast. So we're going boom, tick, boom, tick. I'm taking 4 steps per 2 beats of music is what's happening there. So one more time, doing this from the stomps, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and back to the beginning again. So we're going to do that from the original angle here. Let's start with the stomps going from here. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and back to the beginning again. And the nice part is since you're already in quadruple rhythm, jumping into this rhythm, really easy because it's the same one. Also, if you don't know much about our rhythms, check out our rhythm video, which will tell you all about what single, double, triple, quadruple, held, and all those other kinds of things are, in case you're struggling with that. All right, everybody, let's put it together. All right, so now I'm going to have you follow along. We're going to go through the whole thing all together. I'm going to do the first one in numbers, facing away from you, and then I'm going to do it again facing you with just the boom ticks. So we go. From the very beginning, right foot free. We're going to start off with the taps. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and walk 5, 6, Heel Swivels 7 and 8. Rock steps, 5th position breaks, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Kick swivels, 5, 6, 7 and 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Double kick, 5 and 6. Wiggle, 7 and 8. Stomps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Drags, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fast toe taps, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we start again. Now I'm going to use boom ticks. Boom, tick, 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 boom, tick. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a really great time kicking the dust up with me. We'll see you next time.